Good evening. It's Friday, March 21st, 2025, and it's the Wall Street Weekly Wrap Up with your host, John Newquist. I tell you, last Friday we were at 77, then we got snow, then we got warmth, and then we got winds and tornadoes, and more snow on Wednesday, and today, not so bad. But the week, it's just kind of a choppy week. Has a bright note on the end of the Friday, but let's get into it. It's going to sound like NVDA, but they had some. They had the big conference, and we'll talk about it. The portfolio minus 8.3. Went down a little bit today. We went up a little bit today, and you can see we're right along with the Nasdaq. We're not beating our benchmark of the S&P 500. S&P 500 is minus 3.6. Overall broad rally. If you take out the Mag 7, it's pretty flat for the year for the S&P. Of course, we are 5 of the 7 Mag 7, so we are taking a hit on that issue. The Nasdaq and us are pretty close, 7981. That's not our benchmark. And if I put up the FLCH, or the Franklin Templeton China Fund, got up to 23, and then this rumor of there's a war plan that was at the Pentagon, and Elon went there, and they denied it, and all this reports, and and I'm sure that spooks everybody in China as far as China stocks and everything else, because is there a plan if China goes after Taiwan? Are we going to defend it like you know England and France against Poland, or Pearl Harbor? I don't know. Everything's a mystery until it actually happens, and then we'll see what goes through. I'm going to run some scenarios just because I'm a history buff, but that's an interesting thing. And it's been kind of quiet on the tariffs fronts on China. So, um, and the indicators, like I said, crude's still below 70, so that's good. The natural gas finally broke below 400 or $4. Gold still hanging at that 3,000 level. Wow. And I put up the silver chart. It's been a slow, steady climb up here. You could have bought it at 22. We were buying it a lot earlier than that. And now, it's a lot more. I was showing the friend that had the silver collection, and he had some silver dollars, and I says, each one of these are worth, $70 if it's a 100-year-old silver dollar. So not bad. Not bad at all. Um, Copper still strong. Holy smokes. And this is what's everybody's looking at. It's going to come up there. Power is going to be higher. This. Remember, 450 was the goal. It's at one of the highest in a long time. So, at this exact moment, a little bit after 12, they had a press conference, and they asked him if the tariffs are going to come up on April 2nd, and he said there'll be flexibilities on the tariffs. And then the market just shot up, and you can see that's a big drop. Go from 560 to 562. Not much, but it's enough to turn the S&P positive, little bit. So that's hope. And again, this came up in the mid-afternoon. People are this uncertainty, and the big R word, recession, has been. That's all I heard this week. Recession's coming. It's going to be in there. This uncertainty, unemployment's going to go up. As we're seeing layoffs by a lot of different companies like Morgan Stanley, and so this is what's bothering the stock market. You pick your uncertainty. It's like a spin the wheel. We got a lot of them right now. And then NVIDIA had the conference where Jensen Huang spoke for 2 hours. So I thought I'd just kind of talk about the 4 biggest points, because I think, if anything else, it makes you stronger and a NVIDIA holder. Um, Computational power is how fact that the energy has to be managed. And if you don't manage it, it might be your limiting factor in how much you can do for your AI business. Hence why we have 20-year contracts with power companies and nuclear plants, and that's why I think you're going to see, our URA overall will be good, because if he is indeed right, which I he's not the guy I'm going to really doubt. It will be requiring a lot of energy, and you got to manage it too. You know, you just can't suck it up and not do anything. And they get better at managing the energy of these, you know, chipsets and data centers, it'll be better for everybody. And of course, NVDA, you can see, has been kind of going sideways, as we talked about last week. Agentic AGI is to be able to do a lot of tasks. So, you know, we got, you know, I call retrieval. We get all the data, it's all in there. We can get this data, and it can put some data into things, it can write some simple things. You want a paragraph for this, you want to do this. The next step is inference, which we are already at. You know, they talk about it, but it can analyze data. You know, I can sit there and put in a bunch of data and I can get a correlation, or if I want to put in all the football stuff, it'll give me some answers, whether it's going to be right or wrong, but it gives you stuff in that. The next one is to be able to sit there, you know, play back several scenarios, what I call the chain of thought method, or they don't, not my chain of thought, it's what they talk about in AI, and what would be the different outcomes of, let's say, the China war. You know, okay, Taiwan gets invaded, what would be Taiwan's response, what would be our response, what would China do, what's the, you know, scenario of battle, and then what would be effective if you're defending, what would be effective if China's attacking, and all these different scenarios, which is high computational stuff. And then, like I said, it'll select the best approach. So it's going to act like the human brain, but it's going to be able to pull in billions of data. CUDA, compute univice, you know, it just means we're going to be able to use the chips more than just one aspect, like video or data. We're going to be able to sit there and do the machine training. You know, it'll be able to train better than the people on the computer. And we want to do a lot of simulations for, like, what's the effect of this drug on this new virus, and we can run through 10,000 simulations of, well, if we put this, you know, Gila monster venom, it'll do this, you know, and that's what it's going to be able to go through. And as they get all this scientific study on what we call learned data, then you'll be able to cut a lot of time. It'll be able to pick up things that are working based on statistical analysis instead of you trying to run the data and everything else. And again, you know, it's going to be more efficient process, you know, 50, 100 times more. And of course, what I'm liking is this ecosystem of library. You know, it's NVIDIA's, you know, making these tasks, like you want to have an image processor in your model, you can have a basic one. If you want it to be able to look at people based on what you've got in your data, it can correlate these people to their names, to their, you know, possible, you know, robberies and things like that. And, you know, again, you can do a lot of different tasks. So I call it the library of tasks, and you can think about everything we do. You know, what can we do on a large language model? We can go in here, we can write letters. So we can pick different ones that we like, and you can have that ability in your, you know, your AI system. So it's kind of like having modules, and that works well. You know, it's kind of like you buy the car. Do you have the sensors in the front? Do you have the sensors on the side? That kind of thing. And that's, you know, some people call that commoditization of the libraries, but that's essentially what you're going to get. You know, as people make it better and refined, you know, things like text to speech, which we have in some aspects, but it's limited. But there'll be, you know, the average person could sit there and make a video by speaking out. I want the superhero to smash 10 of the bad guys. They're dressed in black, and whatever you come up with and you can think of, you could sit there and do this. And then you can say, all right, I like this music. I want the drums, but I want the drums at, you know, 6% faster speed, deeper bass, you know, things like this. And you can create music. We're not there. It's going to be there. It's going to be there in the next 3 years. That's the power of this computation. And it's going to be crazy. And these are graphics that are okay, but you can imagine as it gets better, it will be anticipating what you want to know. It'll know what you talk about. It'll be, you know, it's kind of like the Alexa now, where, you know, at a certain time in the morning, and I've been active, it'll tell me what's happening today. What's the weather, what's the news, and everything, because I'm just, you know, getting dressed or something. The Blackwell chip, again, 50 times faster with other software systems presently, and It's going to be big, and we're waiting for it because it's going to do a lot of revolutionary thing. Remember, we got the AI chips come out in November 2023-ish, and we had the shock heard around the world about what these large language models could do, and we haven't got it. Remember, a lot of things are going to happen with this new set of chips. That's why the big four hyperscalers are getting them, and other smaller players will also have them. But Vera and Rubin chip is going to be the next generation. Could be, I would say 2027, but could be a lot of compute power there, maybe 1,000 times faster than it is currently. J.P. Morgan, the banks are all the same. As we looked at the financials a few weeks ago, the financials have had, kind of a struggle. They got peaked up in about the end of February, and then it kind of dropped down. But keep on looking at 200-day moving average. It looks nice. It bounced off of that, and I think the financials are good. Again, this uncertainty is affecting all stocks, and that's why people are thinking recession, and I've heard 40%, 60%. It could happen, but it also, you have to remember, it's 2 quarters of bad data. So I thought Boeing had a good 60 orders of their MAX plane, which is good, because remember, that's the problem plane. And then Trump announced that the F-47 fighter is going to go to Boeing, and that just jumped the stock up. So Boeing's riding high. And I thought it was kind of interesting because he was pretty critical about how the Air Force One is behind schedule by a lot. And now they're going to get it. They couldn't get to the space station and get the two astronauts, I think they're called astronauts still, out of the space station. And they're having problems. I mean, new CEO this year, so we'll have to see on Boeing. Again, I look at the revenues. I mean, I don't buy the hype. This is called hype jumps. It's up there, but the real thing is, can you execute? Because if they execute, then you can get in. Yeah, it might be double, but if it's going to go real well, it's going to go up, maybe up 10 times. Of course, with the Boeing winner, look who lost. Big red candle down here. Lockheed just kind of got out of the hole. It's beyond it. Now you're starting to see the 200-day moving average slope downward, which is never a good sign. And so how low could this go? It could go down, from 430s to 330s. I mean, I don't know. I mean, they haven't got done with the cuts in the Defense Department and projects. So, and then you had the fact that other countries ain't going to buy our stuff because they're mad at us. That's not good. Micron, I mean, it's not an AI company. It's got great memory chips, and they use that in all the systems. So they didn't like the earnings. I mean, I thought revenues rising 38% a year was pretty good. It's just a matter of what is Micron going to go down to? Holy smokes! To me, it's got a good pattern, but this is our NVDA and everything else. I mean, it's been basing since August. Look at this sideways movement. So if you follow the rules, it jumps above this blue line or purple line, then that might be the time to buy it. But we're heavy. We're heavy in tech, so I'm not interested in adding anymore. Nike, I'm telling you, the tariffs are affecting them and every retailer which buys stuff from Indonesia, China, India, Bangladesh. Everybody's waiting to see what their reciprocal tariffs are. And the revenues fell. I mean, they've just been having problems. I mean, shoe-wise, Hoka is just kicking their butt, and there's no reason for it. It's not like a super shoe. But Nike's on this train of downhill spirals, and, then the conference call was tariffs are affecting it, uncertainty on this, sliding consumer demand. That's a big thing. That means we're not gaining share in the market from everything else. So we have these other shoes that are doing well, and that's not good. And heaven forbid these other companies that are doing good start doing clothing and taking more share from Nike. So, I don't know. I mean, we've all watched Kmart and Zaire and Sears all fade out. And I don't know if Nike's in that boat too. I mean, it's the youth of America. They're looking for something, and it is a Nike, you know. So Lennar is our home builder. I put the monthly chart because you know you can get excited that it had gone down, and boy, you think, wow, it's a good deal because look, it's at the 52-week low. I'll buy, but if you start looking at the 15-year chart, you know, or whatever you want to call this dozen-year chart, it's not close to the low. I mean, if you did the, you know, the version of 200-day moving average, 200-month moving average, you know, you could drop half, you know. I mean, pre-COVID, and that's right around here, that's like 70. So maybe when we get to 60 and 70, that might be the time to buy. But you know, I tell people, yeah, it could go up, but you know, it wasn't that long ago. It was at record highs. I mean, record highs. So this is the issue. And again, the interest rates are, you know, what everybody's looking at. And you know, if the unemployment goes up, less people are buying houses. If there's higher prices, you know, they're saying people are starting to sell the, you know, the present houses that they have, and that's, you know, as you expect because we've been kind of flat. But you know, I'm seeing property values go up. It's just crazy how much is going up. So you know, I'm getting people in my town who've seen these jumps of 30,000 back to back, and all of a sudden this is better than their investment portfolio. You know, in a average small town, I mean, you know, 40,000 people, that's a big deal. Beyond your wildest dreams, man, I'm telling you, this company, you know, we got it through our FLCH, our Franklin Templeton China Fund, you know, FLCH, which we showed you the chart on, but they've got a faster charger, twice as fast as Tesla's leading one. And 900,000 employees. I thought that Foxconn was 900,000. This is incredible. 200,000 employees hired in 3 months. Why? Because they're selling 300,000 cars, 400,000 cars a month. Oh my God. If they came in the United States, they'd wipe out the whole auto industry because, you know, these cars are $24,000. You got no money, you can afford a $24,000 electric car that can charge fast as pump the gas. Wow. So, and 10 times bigger than the Tesla Gigafactory in Nevada. So, I mean, this is what's happening over there, and that's why you got to be in some China stocks. You know, can't buy this on the Nasdaq, but you can buy it through the, you know, China funds. Bitcoin just been floating along, 84,000. You know, we got you know, people. Alexa, what's the price of Bitcoin now?
On March 21st, 2025, one Bitcoin was worth $84,150 US.
See, this is like
Since
up $30.
then,
So
Bitcoin is down 1% and currently worth $84,010 US.
so you know, there's a lot of people hoping it's, you know, there's a lot of projection it's going to be 150, 200,000, $1 million. You know, all this nonsense. The Bitcoin fund was a disappointment because all they're doing is just taking what they have and say, well, now we have an official Bitcoin fund. We didn't do anything. We didn't add anything. Didn't sell anything, but we got one. But that's later. That's later. And so this has kind of been a tough thing. And you know, I always tell people you can't chart Bitcoin. It just is an unchartable thing. I've done it several times. It breaks every chart rule possible. So our social stocks were overweight. Instead of 2, we have 4. We have Google, Meta, TKO, which is our, you know, wrestling and Ultimate Fighting, and then of course we bought SIRI. You know, I use SIRI all the time. I'm in the car a lot, and you know, I got SIRI. I mean, I don't have anything else but SIRI. And as they add stations, you know, but Meta, I mean, you know, was what the last bank 7s to turn negative, and now it is just a little bit above the 200-day moving average, but they did good. I mean, you know, if I write down these charts, I started playing with it. Green means they were above 5% more than last year, so they've done good. Whereas Google went slightly below, almost 5%, and then of course DraftKings and TKO dropped over 5%. So it just kind of spot check. Everything else that's white, like Comcast, it didn't change much. You know, it may have been up a little percentage or something else, just to give you a feel for it. So, you know, this is kind of a flat area. Let's take a look at Google. It does pay a dividend, 0.3, but it's down here. This is where people are having trouble because it's below the 200-day moving average, despite Waymo being number one in the United States, number two in the world. Despite the fact that Google Gemini I rate probably number two after ChatGPT. There's this is a company doing really well, I think, and of course search is 92-95% of all the searches, and I don't see a lot of problem with Google. So you want to buy a stock that's really got good fundamentals and it's good. I mean, yeah, it could go down. I don't think it'll go down $100, but it's I like it and I'm going to keep it because we're long term. Again, Data White was on Forbes CEO. I mean, this is a company that's doing real well. And as they get more organized and they get events on here, I mean, they're getting $18 million, $14 million every time they have an event. That's not so bad, And if they could get it, where they could run it every week like WWE, which is also part of TKO, then you can imagine this is going to be, going real well. They do pay a dividend. The big thing is there's a lot of rumors that Netflix will outbid ESPN Plus, and this will change the ballgame for the UFC, and hopefully give them more money and stuff. But we'll see. SIRI again, kind of flat on the revenues, but it does make money. It does pay a good dividend. Buffett's in it. We're in it. I use it. It's just one of those stocks that's kind of been floating around like all the other techs. So, the PE forward, didn't make trailing PE was negative. So, it's still coming down. Look at this. I mean, this thing was way up here. So, is it catching up to it? It got real close here and then went down below, but it's not that bad. I think, like I said, something's going on with SIRI, and I don't know. Good cash flow. People who got it don't usually switch and get out of it. It's not like trade SIRI, you can get rid of it a month and come back a month. They got all the big podcasters on it, so. Overall, the heat map for the week, kind of more red than green, but there's a lot of green versus a few weeks we had nothing green. And again, the video a little bit down, called Buy the Rumors, Sell the News, and as the conference approached, the people sold. Amazon, Google, Meta, and kind of flat. Everything that's, doesn't jump out at you as far as that. Palantir's done well, but I got to wait till the government cuts because I think Palantir's got to be taking a hit on it. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. The Defense Department, which hires Palantir, they're going to get cut. I mean, there's no doubt about it. It's just a matter of how much. Pharmaceuticals did good. The banks finally got positive this week, as you can see. Oils were positive, so a lot of good things. And if this thing, starts to be a little bit more, tariffs will be more flexible. The word flexible, then we can have a good week, and it should be pretty good summer. But I think, like I said, we got to wait till June 1st. I think all this nonsense will be settled down by June 1st, and then, the companies hopefully will not have laid off so much and everything else. Well, everybody's going to watch the job reports because of Doge cuts and stuff. So we'll see it. Otherwise, hopefully a good week next week, and we'll see you then.